Hello and welcome to another episode of Metal Effort. My name's Nehemiah, and today we're going to be looking at this hunk of metal, the Three Rivers Manufacturing Neutron. This is the same knife that I had in my disassembly and rehabilitation video that I had a few days ago. I've got more time with it. I managed to get some new scales on here, as you could see, and I think I'm ready to give my thoughts on it. It's definitely deserving the praise that it's getting. I just wanted to pitch in with my opinion and see if I can help anybody make the decision on whether or not to get this little guy. So first off, just a couple quick little things. I'm going to go over some stats. For that, we're going to use my computer here. I got my little scanning table. Computer. Full scan, silent readout. Anyway, while that's going, I'll continue to talk. So this is a very small knife. For better or for worse, depending on what you're looking for in a knife. But as you can see on the readout, very compact knife. Blade is 3 inches, which is good. I like these kind of knives for my personal use. Let's compare it to some other knives that I have. PM2, and we'll go ahead and open the blade on this while the computer continues to scan it. And then I've got another 3-inch blade. This is the Para 3 next to the PM2. 3-inch blade, 3-inch blade. Usable is going to be a little bit less than this, but you've got the full finger choil right in that wheelhouse. Next is another gem that I just really, really love. Again, another 3-inch blade. So I think I just like 3-inch blades, guys. Maybe 3.25 would be my favorite length, but I like small, easy to EDC knives, and this is definitely falling into that category. So let's jump into the dent. We've got the decent, the excellent, the nitpicks, and the terrible. Let's get on with the decent. First thing is pretty much all the parts of this knife are American made. I'm from America, I live in America, so that sounds good to me, but you know, I don't want another country making an excellent knife to keep that from me purchasing it. So if you don't live in America, don't feel bad about picking one of these guys up. These are really, really awesome if you can get your hands on them. The blade itself is CPM 20CV. So with that kind of blade stock, that pedigree, you really can't complain. It's got fantastic corrosion resistance, edge retention, kind of the trifecta along with M390 and CTS 204P. Not going to have any problems there. The blade shape itself, I'm really a fan of. It's kind of almost a leaf shape like the PM3, just a little bit less belly, obviously. Very similar though. It's something that I can get behind. I find it very useful. The thinness of the knife here, I'll let the computer scan that for us. Cool. So the thinness of this knife really can't be underestimated. It fits in your pocket very, very well because you slide it up in there and it's just razor thin. It's crazy because not only is it thin, but it still gives us the ability to switch scales, which is another great point. I had some red scales earlier that were trashed. Kindly, the person that traded me the knife ordered me some blue ones, just the G10 from TRM. I did wear those for a little while on this, better than the worn out red ones, but I wanted to try out the CF and see if it was better, and it was. So not only is it awesome that you can switch stuff out, I know they got some Mike Carter ones coming out if that's your thing, but you get choice. And for me, my favorite ended up being the CF. It wasn't cheap. I think it was like $35-ish instead of like $12. But I like it a lot. It lightened it up even more, and the edges aren't quite as sharp, which I enjoy. So that's cool. The action on this is really, really good. So I just cut my fingernails, and I didn't really think this would have an adverse effect, but with my fingernail, I could flick it up really easily. With my thumb skin, it's a little bit harder. I can't get the same velocity that I was getting before. I think I might be able to do it here. There you go. So just phosphor bronze washers. I ended up taking it apart a second time. I was doing nano oil 10 weight. I just want to see what grease would do. And so the grease is in here now, and the action really isn't all that different. I thought that there would be a good or bad difference here, but really it feels just about the same, and I like the action of both. So for a washer system, something that you don't have to clean out very often, it's very durable and reliable, has really, really good action. The ergos are, again, very subjective, but I really like it. It fits in the hand well. Obviously, with this really thin blade stock, it's not going to fill the hand like some knives would. I would say my Para 3 is a little bit more comfortable, but this doesn't have any hot spots to speak of. They did a good job on the clip. It's very useful, but doesn't poke you up too much. Speaking of the clip is nice. I like the shape of it. It's got enough spring. It's easy to get in and out. And for a non-deep carry clip, the clip is still pretty near the top, and it gives you the purchase to grab it and pull it out of your pocket. I almost like these screws being here for that like leverage. It's just, otherwise this knife is just so skinny that sometimes it's hard to get a hold of it. So that can help. The logo is a lot better on this one. In the past, on some of Three Rivers things, this was just kind of stamped on. Didn't look near as nice. This is actually kind of gouged out and carved in. So good job. And just the general construction of the knife feels very, very good. I thought, being so thin, it might be a little flimsy, but rock solid, no blade play, and it just feels very sturdy. There's a lot of screws in this. As you can see, there's 3 barrel spacers in the back that might contribute to that a little bit, but I really like the feel and overall construction of it. The fit and finish is top notch for a knife in this price range. So let's move on to the excellent. I've got 2 things here. Speaking of the price point, this knife is an excellent value. It's in the $160 to $170 range for like the vanilla G10 version. Obviously, you can get different things put on here, but considering you're getting top-notch steel in the 20 CV, titanium, clip and scales on the inside frame, very, very premium knife for that cost, and just a very compelling offer. And I think, getting something that, offers premium parts, isn't giant in your pocket, and can come in at a decent price, then you're going to give yourself a shot of being one of the best knives around. Comparing this to like, a PM2 or the 940 Benchmade, like these are very chunky. Obviously, depending on your use, they're going to be a lot more durable than this in a lot of situations. You're not going to be prying things with this. But if you can get by with something this dainty but still well made, I think this beats the other two in terms of size and value by considerable margin. And then lastly is this blade. So not the shape, but just the performance of the blade. I want to see if I can get the shot. So come into focus. All right, so I want you to see just how narrow that blade stock is. It is extremely keen behind the edge, very tall grind, very, very narrow behind the edge. I think those 2 things, just the performance of it, the build quality, the general value that you're getting here, just makes this a very, very, very good option. But not without its few nitpicks. So number 1, there's 3 different types of screws for this. You've got the T6 for like the clip and the scales. You have a T10 for the pivot. But underneath this top scale for these barrel spacers, you have Phillips for 3 screws, which is really weird. So I don't know. It's not like a big deal, but it's kind of a pain in the butt that you have to have 3 different types of screws to get the job done. The Pocket clip, while I like it, I would like an option for a deep carry pocket clip. I think that would be more compelling because this is such a champ in your pocket that if I could get one that is deep carry, it might just put it into one of the best knives for EDC ever, in my opinion. The other thing is the jimping. So you got a little bit of jimping on the lock bar, which is good. I like that. But I wish there was just a small, very thinly spaced jimping like right here. You have some decent like grip for the most part, but you got this like half choil. So I kind of wish that, either give me a little bit more jimping here so I feel control with my other finger kind of further back, or, just go whole hog, maybe flatten this part of the scale out and the frame so I can just snug my finger right up to there. And then I have that like pinch lock in for like really precise cuts. Since the blade kind of curves down like this, it's a little slippery. Not a big deal. Again, you're not using this for the really big, crazy cuts usually, and it hasn't been an actual problem when I've tried to use it, but I wouldn't complain to the smallest amount of jimping right here. Next thing, I kind of already mentioned this, but on the G10, the reason it doesn't carry as well as a CF is the edges on the G10 are a little sharp, and so like when you're going to like grab this to pull it out, it kind of pokes you a little bit. And then when you're trying to get your hand through, if you kind of come in contact with this edge right here, it kind of scrape every time you try to get your hand in. Not a problem at all with the CF, but just the G10 ones. I doubt my Carta would be much of a problem either. And then the other thing I guess I'll mention, and this is probably more on me, but the knife is so thin that to get like purchase, if you want to do like a flick out instead of the slow Sebenza deploy like that, you need to get purchase on the knife and not get your fingers in the cutting path, obviously, to let the blade come out. And so it doesn't give a lot for you to grab onto. So you really have to depend on the clip, and the clip is kind of hard to hold. So there's a couple times where I'm trying to flick it, especially since I cut my fingernail, that the knife just kind of like wanted to twist in my hand where my thumb like actually hit the blade a couple times because I couldn't keep the blade in the right position. I don't know. I mean, it's probably more me than the knife itself, but it's just due to the nature of how thin it is. If you're as clumsy as I am with getting those openings down, you might have some problems. But like even here without my nail, I don't get the purchase to just fling it out. And so I need a lot of like anchor on this bottom part, and I just can't do it every single time. I did it there, but it just takes a little bit of practice, and I'm just a little paranoid that it's going to fly out or it's going to cut me when I need to open it quickly. Not a big deal. And then moving into the terrible, this is kind of another fake terrible, but I'll mention it. This knife is so good, it's hard to get one. They're not impossible to find, but you just got to be patient. And I know that they have a link on the store for Three Rivers to a separate website. Forget the name, I'll post it. Computer, post it. Thank you, computer. You can pre-order-ish. You can get on the books. I think you pay like $12-13, and then they just charge you the remaining amount. It's like a deposit type of a deal so that you don't miss out. Which is cool. I like that, but it's not just they're always available and you can always get it. And I think this deserves all the hype it's getting. It is a really, really good knife. I'm surprised at how much I like it. I liked it with the CF. I was pretty happy with the G10, but this just takes it to the next level. So couldn't be happier. So what's our conclusion on this? Who's this for? I think anybody that wants to EDC a knife, have it disappear in their pocket, and just have a really good slicer. I don't know if I can recommend this for like super hard use. If you're chopping through rope all day or something like that, this might not be the knife for you. But just to have one on you for everyday stuff, I think this is awesome. If you're going to use it for food, if you're going to use it for opening, packages or breaking down boxes or whatever, this can handle all those jobs, no problem. It's got a very useful, practical blade. And so aside from you probably misusing the knife, I think this will be durable and long lasting for you. and would cover probably 95% of EDC tasks excellently. So that's my review on the Neutron by Three Rivers Manufacturing TRM. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy your Neutron if you get one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.